You tune in to Floridian Rollo. I'm your host, Floridian Rollo, and I'm coming at you with another live stream. What's up, y'all? What's up? We're going to get right to it. What's going on to the mods, to the members in the chat room? Without further ado, let's hear what Trump has to say about the shutdown, amongst other things.
What would it take for you to drop or lower your tariffs on Canadian sectors, including aluminum and steel?
Well, we're going to be talking about that with the Prime Minister. We'll be talking about tariffs. We'll be talking about a lot of that, but that's for a little bit later on. I want to just acknowledge our great ambassador. Is he doing a good job?
He's doing a good job.
Otherwise, I'll get him out of there so fast. No, you have a good job.
Is it the White House's position that furloughed workers should be paid for their back pay?
I would say it depends on who we're talking about. I can tell you this, the Democrats have put a lot of people in great risk and jeopardy, but it really depends on who you're talking about. But for the most part, we're going to take care of our people. There are some people that really don't deserve to be taken care of, and we'll take care of them in a different way. Okay?
Did you hear that? There's some people that deserve to get their furlough, and there's those that will be taken care of in a different way, meaning in due time and due process. It depends on what they deem for who's supposed to get the money they're supposed to get on the 15th and who doesn't. All right, let's continue.
Thank you.
Mr. President, in your opinion, why has Canada and the United States failed to reach an agreement up until now?
Well, it's a complicated agreement, more complicated maybe than any other agreement we have on trade, because, we have natural conflict. We also have mutual love. We have great love for each other. I love this. I love Canada, the people of Canada, and Mark feels the same way about here. The problem we have is that they want a car company and I want a car company, meaning the U.S. wants a car company, and they want steel and we want steel. And, so in other countries, they're very far away, and there's no problem. You can compete and you can do. We don't like to compete because we sort of hurt each other when we compete. And so we have a natural conflict. It's a natural business conflict. Nothing wrong with it. And I think we've come a long way over the last few months, actually, in terms of that relationship. So when it comes to trade, the United States was always giving everything. They gave everything to Canada. They would let car companies leave here and go to Canada. But that hurts the United States. And, other presidents didn't see that. They weren't business oriented. They might have been good politicians in some cases, not in all cases. They were bad at both. But it's a very natural conflict, and it's something that we're working on.
Canada has offered a lot of compromise this summer. Are you willing today to offer some compromise to Canada, maybe on steel and aluminum?
Well, we've made compromise, and we...
So basically, they're talking about the situation while the shutdown's going on, the deals that they're going to be making. So eventually, Canada is going to help out the U.S., and the U.S. is going to help out Canada, is what both of them saying. So that's what's going on right now. Anyway, let's continue. Let's see what they say about the shutdown.
We've made some compromise, even on steel. But, we have the same basic authority and the same basic, this could be also a little bit of a conflict with other countries all over the world on steel, because we want to make our own steel. We don't want to bring steel in for the most part, but we will bring it in, and we do bring it in. We continue to bring it in from Canada, but there is a tariff to pay. And I think that would be a normal thing to say, but we've come a long way. I think, Howard, we can truly say, do you want to make a comment on that?
Well, I think the opportunity to work together, and as you said, there's conflict. Why do we make cars in Canada? You've called that out, and you've addressed that. So there are places we should work together, and there are places that we have natural conflict.
It's a tough situation because we want to make our cars here. At the same time, we want Canada to do well making cars. So we're working on formulas, and I think we'll get there.
Mr. President.
This is getting to be very interesting that they having this in real time, y'all. They're having this conference in real time while a lot of officials are not getting paid, right? A lot of people is not getting paid. Let me get this person on out of here because my moderator is not blocking anybody. I don't know why. My moderator is not blocking the person when they're being disrespectful in the chat. They may not be disrespectful to me. They're being disrespectful to America. You got a demonic entity I had to block, you know? So that person is gone. I don't know what's so funny. People think this is a joke. People is acting a fool. I don't get it. Anyway, let's continue.
Canadians are refusing to go to the U.S. The numbers are down like 23% in the first 7 months of the year. What do you say to Canadians that don't want to go to the U.S. now because of your 51st state talk, because of the trade war, the tariffs?
Yeah.
And
Well,
fear
I
of
understand
also
that. Look, I
being
understand that. And Americans don't want to buy cars that are made in Canada, you know? I mean, we have the same conflict. So there isn't, it's something that will get worked out. There's still great love between the two countries, but, you know, American people want product here. They want to make it here. Detroit was emptied out and moved to Canada, moved to Mexico, moved to other places, not just Canada. And now they're all moving back, you know, they're moving back. We have, right now, I was just telling Mark, we have 17 trillion, but it's really much higher. That was as of a couple of months ago. We have over $17 trillion being invested now in the United States. As an example, Biden, he was the worst president we've ever had, but they had less than 1 trillion in 4 years. We have more than 17 trillion in 8 months. 8 months. And I think that number is going to be $22 trillion. There's never been anything like that in the history of the world for any country, not even close. You know, if you did 1 trillion in a year, that's pretty good.
So basically, America is making a lot of money. And so that is telling you that while America is making a lot of money, there's a lot of things going on in America that needs to be fixed. So time will tell. Time will tell. Yeah, there's a lot of money being made in America. That's true. There's a lot of people coming to America, going to Pacific places from other parts of the world. There's a lot of investing going on. That's true. He's not lying about that, Trump. At the same time, the shutdown came at a time when things are supposed to be picking up in this country. You know, the last quarter of the season, and a lot of people is being affected for the most part. So let's continue to hear this conversation. Let's go.
We're going to do over 20. And it's coming in with AI. It's coming in with auto plants. You know, we're building auto plants, a lot of auto plants in the U.S. It's coming in for a lot of reasons. It's coming in because of the fact, I think the November 5th election was a big factor, and I think the tariffs are a big factor. And again, we want Canada to do great. But you know, there's a point at which we also want the same business. We're competing for the same business. That's the problem. That's why I keep mentioning one way to solve that problem is a very easy way. But we're competing for the same business. He wants to make cars, we want to make cars, and we're in competition. And the advantage we have is we have this massive market. So it's it's quite an advantage.
There's no debunking that. And there's no debunking competing for your country. There's no debunking that. You're supposed to want your country to be the best. So let's continue.
Mr. President, can we talk about Portland for a second? Are you planning to invoke the Insurrection Act? And that would be, a very long-standing law that's been on the books.
Yeah, well, it's been invoked before, as you know. If you look at Chicago, Chicago's a great city where there's a lot of crime. And if the governor can't do the job, we'll do the job. It's all very simple. They probably had 50 murders in Chicago over the last 5, 6, 7 months. And many people were shot. And then the governor gets up and he says, well, we can handle it. They can't handle it. They don't know what they're doing. The mayor is grossly incompetent. He's at a 4% approval rating in Chicago. He's at a 4%, lowest approval rating, lower than even de Blasio had, which is hard to believe in New York. I thought de Blasio would always maintain that record, but the Chicago guy is even lower. So I think that we want safe cities. If you look at D.C., you would right now, Mark, you could go out, take your family out to dinner, you could walk right down the middle of the street. There is no crime in D.C. When I got here, this place was a raging hellhole where people would come from Canada, people would come from other places and end up getting shot. Nobody's being shot. The National Guard's been unbelievable. I mean, they are strong, tough guys. You know, we won something at the Supreme Court, which is a big deal, merit. Everything now in this country is merit-based. I didn't think I'd ever see it again. And we have our soldiers are merit-based too, and they're central casting. And they walk through that town, and I'll tell you what, this place is safe. It's beautiful. Now we're in Memphis, and the same thing's happening. You're getting the reports. The bad guys are saying, we don't want anything to do with this. And we're removing many people. In D.C., we took out 1,700 career criminals and sent them back to the countries from which they came, mostly led out by Biden and his people that had an open border policy.
Well, definitely they're making moves, strategic moves to make sure that these people that don't belong here is getting out of here. He has done a lot in the last almost 10 months than any other president has ever done in a tenure in office. So it goes to show you how much he really cares about the country. At the same time, you know, with the shutdown, it's taking a little bit more of a process, if that makes sense to the people. So we just got to be vigilant out here. Got to be mindful of vigilant out here. So other than that, you know, be respectful in the chat. Don't come in here with the nonsense. I know this is the month of October. I call it the hell month, you know. So just be mindful of what you say. Be respectful. All I'm asking you to do is double tap the like button on your way in. So there's a lot of changes going on, you know. A lot of people is moving in sin. They love sin. And so I'm not going to entertain you sinners. Got to get right with the Heavenly Father through Christ. I'm not entertaining you sinners. I'm not entertaining the sinners. There's too much going on. You got to get your act right. You know, we want America to be great again. At the same time, these sinners, they always making it harder for those who's trying to do the right thing. We're in a constant battle with these sinners. Let's continue.
And, you know, Canada, you suffered because of that, too, because they'd come here and they'd go into Canada also. So we're like a buffer for that in terms of Canada suffered greatly by Biden and the open border, the policy of open border, totally unchecked, totally unvetted. And these people were, you know, if you got 5%, 2%, now you were getting a lot of bad people. And we now have a closed border. You've done well. Yep. We have a closed border, and it's a really closed border. In fact, for 4 months, I don't even know if this is possible, but the figures were released. 0 people were able to come into the United States from the southern border. 0. And as you know, we've taken a very hard stand on drugs. This is also benefiting you. We call them the.
You know, a lot of these countries don't want to see America be great again. At the same time, it goes to show you some of these world leaders, they love sin too. They love sin. They indulge in sin. They go around sinners every day. So I'm glad Trump wanted to get rid of these drugs because it's affecting everybody. It's affecting everybody. There's a lot of food that's drug situated. there's a lot of things going on, man. People are really crashing out, so it's going to take its time. It's showing little by little, a lot of people, man, there's more things. It's calming down somewhat in this country. It's crazy. And there's a lot of women taking high-end substance from these other countries, and so are the men. So Trump is like, look, we don't want that in our borders. We don't want those type of things in our country because it's messing up the young people, children, adults, elderly. The list goes on. That's why the Canada Prime Minister, he is exposing your country. You just can't be surprised. Let's continue.
The water drugs, the drugs that come in through water, they're not coming. There are no boats anymore. Frankly, there are no fishing boats. There's no boats out there, period. If you want to know the truth, we're saying, does anybody go fishing anymore? The fact is we knocked out, probably saved at least 100,000 lives, American lives, Canadian lives, by taking out all those boats coming in. So it's, and now they don't come in that way anymore. Now they'll come in other ways, and we're not going to allow that either. So we've done a great job on that. But on crime, Chicago's a great city, but you can't be a great city if you have murders and if you have a lot of problems, and they do. And they have an incompetent policy, just like they had.
I'm going to tell you this right now. I don't recognize Oregon for the most part. I know 2 people from Oregon respectfully. However, I don't respect Oregon as a whole. I don't respect Illinois as a whole. I don't respect New York City as a whole. I don't respect a lot of these places as a whole because they just love turmoil. They love turmoil. Look, a lot of people love turmoil. And then the crazy thing about it is when the turmoil hits their door, they want to call you up and say, hey, can you look out for me? No. You cannot look out for people that don't want to look out for you. We're in a time such as never before, y'all. People are literally losing their mind. And this is one of the reasons why a lot of people are staying solo to themselves. And I don't blame people staying solo because it's very hard and difficult to deal with people knowing that people are not only fickle, like my lady would say, at the same time, people are losing their minds. It's a super crash out going on. And so I'm very cognizant. I don't really have conversations with people like that because people are crazy. They're crazy. They're losing their mind over things that you have no control over. I don't have no control over what's going on with the economics. All I could do is do what I have in front of me, which is not enough. And some people could relate to that. We don't have enough. A lot of us is just getting by. I don't know about y'all. I'm tired of getting by. You know what I'm saying? You put in a lot of hours. You put in a lot of time. If you're not careful, it can mess you up. When was the last time that we could take a month and 2 months off without being concerned about our bills? They have it to where it's your bills, it's your relationship. Y'all heard me say this before. Look, I'm gonna be real with y'all. Bills are more of your relationship than your actual partner. Bills have messed up a lot of relationships. Nobody ever have told you this. I'm going to be honest with you. Bills have messed up a lot of relationships because when you get up every day, besides praying to God, you do your best to pray to God because there's days you don't want to pray to God. Because you're like, man, look, I'm praying to God. I still got bills to pay. I could pray to God every single day. They don't care. Them bills are still knocking on your door every day. So it's getting to a point, bills is messing up a lot of relationships. It's very hard to concentrate when you see that bill right there, you like, oh man. Oh man, you praying to God, you praying to Christ, you reading your book of Psalms, you reading everything you could think of. Here that call comes. That call comes. That evicted notice is coming. You like, oh. You're like, that, man. And then people question, is there a God? People be questioning God sometimes. I'm not saying that you should question God. You should ask God, if you really God, like, you see what they're going to do to me, right? I'm going to be kicked out. So people are scared. And there's be times you doubt of, did I make the right decision? Sometimes you be doubting yourself. Let's be real. People be doubting themselves like, Dad, man, I did all this. And I'm like, what? There's nothing coming out of it. And then you got to make a decision. You got to make this decision, that decision. You just like, you know what? Scratch all of it. I'm removing everything I could think of. It's very hard to concentrate in this day of time when you got all these responsibilities right in front of your face. And the 15th, the 30th, you get that call, you get that memo. You're like, oh. Don't expect no company to save you. Don't expect no 9 to 5 to save you. And the way people are moving this day, it's a cold world. People are cold-hearted these days. You'd be lucky if you got 1 or 2 people that's legit in your life. A lot of people, man, that be watching your platform, they're not here to help you out. They're just here to hear what you have to say and keep it moving and go to the next person. It's crazy, man. This is a wicked world, man. Let's continue.
Open border policy, anybody could come in. They came in from prisons. They came in from mental institutions, drug dealers. They came in from all over the place, and we don't have that anymore. This country is becoming we're a very strong country. Look, financially speaking, I would say that because of the tariffs, because of the election, because of the policy, because of the great, big, beautiful deal, it's what I added the word great because it really is. It's the biggest bill ever passed in the history of our country. We don't need another bill. It's the biggest tax cuts, when you think no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime for the people. But far beyond that, what it does is incentivizes auto plants and AI and all of the things.
Well, there's truth to that. There's truth to that. I mean, if you're working in a service industry or hospitality industry, and you're getting overtime, you're not getting taxed for that. You're not getting taxed for tips. So that helps a little bit. The thing is, not everybody's tipping. Tipping is at an all-time low. let me tell you something. If you're doing Uber, you're doing Lyft, DoorDash, and Uber Eats, Amazon Flex, people are not tipping. Listen, I can't recall a good day's tip in a long time. That's why I don't even think about it. People are giving less service, even on the internet. Let me tell you how real this is. I only got 17 likes. So why is it a lot of people in the chat if we only got 17 likes? Because people are not coming here to like the video. They come into view, yet they don't like the video. Why? Because they don't want this video to be pushed. There's a lot of important information I'm breaking down besides the contents of this video. That's why 32 people dropped. How we only got 17 likes? Yeah, it's a lot of people in the building. We had close to 300 people, and there's only 17 likes in the chat. This is why I'm saying this is not adding up. It's not making sense. It's just what it is. This is the same thing as if you're a driver, don't even depend on people tipping you. I just block it now. I just be like, hey, I'm just gonna drop it off and go about my business. I don't got anything to say. Because at the end of the day, people are fickle with their money now. And you know what? This is how you're gonna know. Let me teach y'all something about the tipping business. Tipping is at an all-time low, y'all, for most of us. I can't speak for everybody. Most people ain't getting no tips driving. And so while Trump is doing the right thing, the people ain't doing the right thing. People ain't tipping. And it could be very frustrating. You guys, that's why I don't expect certain things. I'm at the point, I'm just like, yo, if I get something, I get something. If I don't, it is what it is. Because at the end of the day, you sign up for something, it may work, it may not work. It is what it is. Anyway, let's continue to hear this. Let's go.
Nobody's ever passed a bill like it. We don't need another bill. We don't need any more bills. I said, let's get it all at once. I was greatly helped by our Speaker, Mike Johnson, and by the Senate. I'll tell you what, John Thune's been, both of those guys have been incredible. And we got a bill passed that I said, let's see if we can get it all done. Because these Democrats are like insurrectionists, okay? They're so bad.
Okay, so you're saying tipping's supposed to end. Why tipping's supposed to end? I want to hear this. Why tipping's supposed to end? Why tipping's supposed to end? We the people want to know in the chat why tipping's supposed to end. What state you from or what country you from? The person that's talking about tipping needs to end. What state you from? What country you from? I guarantee you this person never helped anybody out. I guarantee you this person that's saying this in the chat never helped nobody out in their entire life. And I guarantee you the person in the chat be asking for money. Talking about, can you lend me money? And won't even pay the person back. These are the type of people I used to deal with. These are the people I used to deal with. This is why I don't help too many people. Listen, let me tell you something. Stop helping people. Stop helping people, man. You're going to have to sometimes be selfish. Because people, when you help them and they say they're going to pay you back, don't expect them to pay you back. Real talk. I tell you what. You're not going to be disrespectful to me. How do I know you're telling the truth? You're not going to be disrespectful to me. I don't know you like that. You're talking about you run a charity. Okay, if you say so. If you say so. Let me check your channel. Because a lot of people be capping. You ain't got nothing going on here. You got a blank channel. I say you capping. You're capping. You're capping at this point. You're just talking. I'm going to let you continue to talk. I'm just going to ignore the comments. Let's go.
For our country. So their policy is so bad for our country. I said, let's see if we can get it all done in the big, and everybody said it's not doable because it's the biggest bill ever passed in the history of our country. And we got it all done. We don't need anything else. We got everything we want. And now, because of that, that's a big reason why the companies are coming in. You know, 1 year depreciation, 1 year write-off, 1 year expensing. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. So they're coming in from all over the world. But to have a great country, you can't have crime. And
I agree with Trump. In order to have a great country, you can't have crime. No, you started with the insults. You started with the insults. I didn't start with no insults. And you telling me to get over myself? Let me get you out of here. Let me get you out of here. These people never support establishments or businesses. These people never support establishments and businesses. I'm telling you, I don't got time for these demons. The person's already blocked. Let me rewind back what Trump just said importantly. Listen.
That it's not doable because it's the biggest bill ever passed in the history of our country. And we got it all done. We don't need anything else. We got everything we want. And now, because of that, that's a big reason why the companies are coming in. 1 year depreciation, 1 write-off, 1 year expensing. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. So they're coming in from all over the world. But to have a great country, you can't have crime. And
to have a great country, you can't have crime. I'm with that. I'm with that. To have a great country, you can't have crime. So believe it or not, Trump's been listening. Listen, it's too much thing going on, man. They got to go, man. They are slowing the process. Whether they rich or not, they're slowing the process. They got to go. It has to be a clean-up house. You cannot lead by example if you got criminals having more say than the residents of Americas. It has to be cleaned up. You have to respect yourself. And a lot of people don't respect themselves. That's why I say all money ain't good money. All money ain't good money. It's not. Here we go. Here we go again. Here we go again. I'm telling you, man. This month of October, I don't like this month at all. I'll be glad when it's over with. Because there's too many people on demon time. Too many people on demon time. Demon time been going on since September, if you ask me. More so the summertime, yet more so now than ever before. Yeah, Cole is correct. Cole is correct. Cole is correct. If there's no tipping, the business will have to pay the employees more, which would turn your $10 meal into the $20 meal. Yeah. The problem, Cole, is a lot of people don't tip. Listen, tipping is at an all-time low. I told y'all I don't depend on tips no more. I already made my mindset up ready. You know what I'm saying? People don't tip like that, especially down here in Florida. They don't tip like that. They don't tip like that in Florida. They don't. Not like it was. I'm going to be honest with you. Where I'm staying at, they don't tip. Let me just say that. In Orlando, they don't tip like that. Like other places I've been to, for the most part, they tip. It's just I don't know. I can't say about other cities. New York City, they used to tip very well. They don't tip no more either. A lot of places don't tip. People don't tip like they used to. That's why a lot of people just do whatever they do. Now, me personally, I don't do that. I just give the people their food and go about my business. Because I already know if it's a tip or not. Because I'm very, very well with the numbers. So when I see the price, I say, oh, yeah, it's not a tip. Yeah, it's not too far, so I'll take it. People say, why would you take the order? Yeah, because it's not far. It's not that long of a ride. So I just take it, drop it off, take a photo, go about my business. That's it. You know what I'm saying? So let's continue, y'all. Let's continue.
we don't have crime, but we have cities where there's tremendous crime. And
we have cities that have tremendous crime. Let's get to it. Let's talk about it. Come on, Trump.
Passed in the history of our country, and we got it all done. We don't need anything else. We got everything we want, and now because of that, that's a big reason why the companies are coming in. You know, 1 year depreciation, 1 year write-off, 1 year expensing. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. So they're coming in from all over the world. But to have a great country, you can't have crime. And we don't have crime, but we have cities where there's tremendous crime. And Chicago's one of them. And
Chicago is one of them. We know that other cities is on a high speed of crime. You know? And the mayors and governors and the police don't care no more. And when you have them don't care, then every man, every woman for themselves. Let's continue.
if the governor can't straighten it out, we'll straighten it out. Thank you. A question for the president.
Do you remain
Mr.
committed to, are you?
Prime Minister, I'd like to know how come the UK and the European Union have succeeded to sign deals and bring the tariffs down, and Canada still hasn't been able to do the same?
Yeah, because they're not located right next to each other. It makes it, in many cases, it's much better and easier. But
yeah, and if I may, let's be clear about the relationship as it stands right now. We are the second largest trading partner of the United States. We do a lot of trade going across the border where we're cooperating, first thing. Secondly, we are the largest foreign investor in the United States. $500 billion in the last 5 years alone, probably $8 trillion in the next 5 years if we get the agreement that we expect to get. Thirdly, there are areas, as the President just said, where conflict, maybe not so much conflict, we compete. There are areas where we compete, and it's in those areas where we have to come to an agreement that works. But there are more areas where we are stronger together, and that's what we're focused on. And we're going to get the right deal for America, right deal, obviously, from my perspective, for Canada.
including one thing that, wait a minute, easy, wait. So one thing where we are working very closely is the Golden Dome. That's the protective mechanism, and you see how that works. It's unbelievable. Ronald Reagan wanted to have it, and at that time they didn't have the technology, even close to the technology. But he was advanced, and we'll be working together on a Golden Dome for the two countries, and it's something that I think is going to be very important. Especially when you look at the world, you look at what's happening. We want to have that protection. It's really amazing. The technology is unbelievable.
Well, I mean, that's very important. Certain things have to be protected. Certain things have to be sure of and checked out before it be finalized. So I'm all for that. All right, let's continue, y'all. Let's continue.
Why do you say some federal workers should not get their back pay? Why do you say some?
Well, you're going to have to figure that out, okay? Ask the Democrats that question.
She said, Trump, what do you think about the federal workers, the government workers getting their money? And he said that you're going to have to ask the Democrats that question, which is true because the Democrats don't want to pass the bill. All right, let's continue.
Go ahead. Mr. President, just to follow up there, I think the law says that when the government is reopened, that workers will receive their back pay. So are you going to define the law there, or what do you?
I follow the law, and what the law says is correct, and I follow the law.
Mr. President, will Canada be leaving empty-handed, or will will Mr. Carney be leaving Washington with a deal on tariffs?
I think they're going to be very happy. We have a lot of things that we're working on that people don't talk about. They talk about, competitiveness. He's a very competitive person. And they talk about things that we don't necessarily agree on. But I think they're going to walk away very happy. I think so.
There's been a minimum tariff that countries have got. When USMCA gets renegotiated, do you want a minimum tariff on goods between Canada and the U.S.?
Well, we're going to have tariffs between Canada, and, they have them with us. I will say with our farmers, as you know, they went up to as much as 400%, 250, 300, and even one at 401. We found one having to do with a very small product, but it was high. So we've had, we've.
Look, at the end of the day, when it comes to dealing with other countries, it speaks for itself. I'm more focusing on the shutdown. So they talking about, making deals with other countries, and the shutdown is in between conversations. So I see where this is going. So let me just say this, because we'll be back to this in a minute, y'all. Let me just talk to y'all. Give me 1 second. 1 second, y'all. I got to do something. 1 second. Okay. Put a 5 in the chat if you can hear me loud and clear. Put a 5 in the chat if you can hear me loud and clear. Put a 5 in the chat if you can hear me loud and clear. Just waiting for y'all to let me know if y'all can hear me real good. I appreciate the mods in the building. Shout out to the mods in the building. Shout out to the members. And salute to the chat. So let me get this person on out of here. Got you, get on out of here. You've been packed up. I'm not going to entertain you entities and deities. I'm not going to give you no attention. You're just going to get blocked. That's it. You've been blocked. You are officially blocked for good. Let me explain something to y'all. This shutdown has affected a lot of people, right? The thing, though, is that you have the numbers when it comes to supporting one another. Why don't y'all support one another in the field of work you're doing? Why don't you come up with ideas so that y'all can do what y'all got to do? Because let me tell you something. I myself look at the 9 to 5 as temporarily. I don't look at it forever. No matter what type of field you get in, if you're not running your business, let me just say this, because this is very serious. If you're not running a business or 2 or 3, or you're not in higher management, you're a liability. You're liable to let go. So if you're not in upper management and higher management or running some type of establishment, you're a liability and you could be let go anytime. That's the truth. And so when I look at these situations, that's why y'all don't hear me talk about longevity with these companies, these situations, because any given time, they cut you off. Now what you going to do? We've seen what happened in 2020. People had to make decisions. Right? Fast forward 5 years later, we got decisions to make before 2026 come. Because it's obvious right in front of us. That includes me too. Some of you ain't got to worry about this situation because you set. I'm not talking to those who set. Don't come in the comment section. Don't come in my chat. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to people like me and those who is not where we need to be. That's who I'm conversating with right now. If you're doing well, you're doing good, everything's on the up and up, I'm not talking to you. You're not being affected. Your affected is different than the person who's trying to get to that step. So what I'm saying is Kevin Samuels was correct. If you're not near 6 figures or close to 6 figures, you could be replaceable any given time. That's all I got to say on that. We got to get our numbers better. That includes me too. My numbers got to get better. It can't be stagnant. It can't be Frickle. It can't be all over the place. This is not a time we should be all over here, there, here, there. No. Two things got to be going well. Everything else supposed to be hitting. You know? So that includes my, channel. You know why the channel is growing? The channel is growing because people digging the content at the same time. Do I expect the support to be big? Not all the time. It would be nice. Yet, it doesn't happen all the time. Just like anything you do, don't expect people to support you, because if you do, you're going to be disappointed. I learned this a long time ago, especially now more than ever before. So when I go live, I don't know what to expect. I just say what needs to be said, break it down to the best of my ability, and go on to the next topic. That's all I could do. Because I realize when you expect expectations and you don't meet your expectations, you're going to be disappointed. You're going to be frustrated. You're going to lose a train of thought. You ain't trying to hear what anybody got to say. You blocking out everybody what they tell you. Even if you're cool with the person, your significant other, it don't matter. You're going to block everybody out because you're not trying to hear what they're saying. Because they've been saying the same thing you heard 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, right? You hear the same thing. You don't want to hear the same thing. You want to see results. So what I'm learning now, then, in this time of year, I'm not surprised about anything. So if I do get support, I get support. If I don't, there's nothing I could do about it. That's all I got to say on that. I just wanted to bring that out because a lot of people be thinking that because I get big numbers that everything's on the up and up. No, it don't work like that. It's not about the numbers. It's about the actual support. Because a lot of people getting a large number, if they get the support, that helps. If they don't, it is what it is. So let's continue. Let's get back to the content. Okay, let's go.
We've always had tariffs between the two of us, and actually Canada was charging us very high tariffs on our agricultural things, a lot of our agricultural product, and that's one of the things that we talk about for bringing that down. So, this is a mutual thing, but we've been charged tariffs. Look, we're the king of being screwed by tariffs, just so you understand, and I'm not talking about with Canada, I'm talking about with countries all over the world. When you look at Europe, when you look at China, when you look at all of the, almost every country charged the U.S., we didn't charge them because we were led by stupid people in many cases. Stupid people. They took advantage of our country. They're not taking advantage of us anymore. If you looked at European Union, they're all my friends. I don't blame them. I blame our presidents. I blame our past presidents and, business leaders. But we are the king of countries that have been taken advantage of for many, many years. We've been paying trillions and trillions of dollars and receiving nothing at all. As an example, prior to the deal with Europe, where they pay a lot of money, but they're happy and I'm happy. The deal was good. It's a fair deal, but it wasn't fair. You couldn't put a car into Europe. You couldn't sell your agriculture into Europe. You couldn't do anything. And now we have it so that it's open. We charge them tariffs. We didn't charge them tariffs for car. They charge us tremendous. I said to Angela Merkel once, I said, how many cars have gone to Germany from the United States? And she said, well, I don't believe any. And I said, you're right. You're right. Well, that doesn't happen anymore. And they're paying a fair amount. It's just a fair amount. It's not, I could ask for much more. It's a fair amount. But the United States now is using the same thing that they've used on us. And I just can't believe it's taken presidents so long to do this. And again, we're going to treat people fairly. We're going to especially treat Canada fairly. But I can't believe it's taken so long where we get charged and don't charge them. Japan was a good example. We made a deal with Japan. You saw that, Mark? A deal with Japan. It's a much different deal than we've had in the past. But they would send us millions of cars, no charge. We weren't allowed to send them cars. We sent them no cars. I doubt you had one car go into Japan because we were restricted. They didn't want our cars. Same thing with Europe, same thing with other places. So
that's because a lot of people from America, preferably, I would say in the 90s, early 2000s, wanted foreign cars because foreign cars supposedly run better than most American cars, you know? So there was a time that, you know, Mercedes and what you got, Jaguars, different foreign vehicles, Toyota, they was not known prominent when I was coming up back in the days. We had Oldsmobiles, Ford, Chevrolets. It starts with Saturn vehicles. I think Saturn is a foreign vehicle. Somebody let me know in the chat. So we had those type of vehicles. We didn't have too many foreign cars. There was far few between. I would say the mid-90s, 2000s is when we started seeing more prevalent of it. So what Mr. Trump is saying is that's not a lie. That's not a lie. He's telling the truth. A lot of foreign people didn't want to deal with no American cars. Let's continue.
now all we do now is fairness, but fairness leads us to the most successful country there's ever been. You know, we have some advantages over other countries, and we do have a great market. We have an amazing market. But you know what? If I let this go, if we didn't win this election, if we had these people that were running, that were ruining our country, destroying our country with their open borders and men playing in women's sports and transgender from everybody and windmills all over the place, if we allowed that to go on for another couple of years, we would be, I'm not sure that we'd even have a country.
Now they all screaming. You know why they all screaming? Because he told the truth. He told the truth. This place would have been over by now. That's facts. Let's continue.
Yeah, Brian. And by the way, I'm not sure we would have even had a country. And now we have the most successful country in the world. Brian?
Yes, sir. What is your message to Democrats ahead of a next vote to open up the government? The American people are saying, open the damn government. What's your message to them right now?
Well, they're the ones that started it. They're the ones that have it. And it's almost like a kamikaze attack by them. You want to know the truth? This is like a kamikaze attack. They almost, you know, they have nothing to lose. They've lost the elections. They've lost the presidential election in a landslide. I saw the other day where Kamala said this was a very close election. This was one of the biggest sweeps that anybody's ever had. Won the popular vote by millions, won the Electoral College by a massive amount. They said, if I got 270, that would be great. But I got, I think, 312 or 315, and they got 220. So, you know, we won that. But we won counties. The big thing is counties. So out of all of the counties, thousands and thousands, we got 2,500. They got 525. It was a landslide. And we listened, oh, yes, it was close. It was one of the greatest victories ever. And it was a mandate to do what we're doing. And I hope, and Mark wants this as much as I do, we are very close to making a deal on the Middle East that will bring peace to the Middle East. After all of these years of millions and millions, tens of millions of people being killed, there's a chance to bring peace to the Middle East. In addition to that, I made 7 other deals, and they're, you know, great. And we're, you know, things are happening with respect to Russia, Ukraine. That's one that last week, Mark, 7,812 people were killed. Soldiers, mostly soldiers. Yep. But 7,000, more than 7,000, almost 8,000 soldiers were killed. It's a crazy thing. I thought that would have been one of the easy ones. I get along very well with Putin, and I thought that would have been, I'm very disappointed in him, because I thought this would have been an easy one to settle, but it's turned out to be maybe tougher than the Middle East. We'll see what happens with the Middle East.
All right, so we're going to close it out with that. I would thank each and every one of y'all for tuning in here. You know what I'm saying? Thank each and every one of y'all for tuning into the show, because they're talking about the war stuff. I'm not going to get into all that. I just wanted to hear what Trump has to say about the shutdown. So he pretty much summed it up, because they're going into a diatribe with the trade with Canada and the war that's going on in Russia, the Middle East. I'm not going to get into all that right now. You know what I'm saying? We'll see what happens in the upcoming days. All I can tell you is get right with the Most High through Christ. People are losing their minds out here, man. It's a crazy world, man. It's a crazy, crazy world. You know, so that's pretty much about it. Oh, we got a vet in the building. What's going on? You in Daytona Beach? That's what's up. That's what's up. Shout out to my people out there in Daytona Beach in the northeast of Florida. Shout out to you, sir. So, hey, I'm going to get on out of here. Y'all enjoy the rest of your night. Y'all be careful. If you're on the road, you know, as Ringo would say, drive safe. That's his talking point. You know, just be cognizant and mindful, y'all. Thank y'all for thumbsing up the video. To me, the likes is very low. I don't know why we didn't get over 100 likes when we had a lot of people in the building. It goes to show you a lot of people that came here did not come here to like and support the show. That's just what tells you what type of time we're in. You know, it is what it is. If you subscribe to the channel, I appreciate it. We got a lot of people subscribed to the channel today. Thank you for doing that. You know, we got a lot of people subscribed to the channel. So that's good. You know what I'm saying? So I'll holler at y'all real soon. More information to come. Y'all enjoy the rest of your night, and y'all be safe out there.